Today's lesson is going to focus on converting metric units. So you can convert metric measurements of units by using unit rate. So this lesson is going to be very similar to what we did yesterday with our US customary. Instead of using US customary, we're using metric. What's nice about the metric system, if you recall, is the metric system is all powers of 10 based. So it's really about just manipulating the decimal, how many places I move the decimal. So here's our metric units of capacity. Our metric units of capacity and of length and of weight are all the same. The only thing that changes is our name. So when we talk about metric units of capacity, we're talking about liters. But 1,000 milliliters is equal to a liter. 1,000 millimeters is equal to 1 meter, and 1,000 milligrams is equal to 1 gram. So it's nice because it's a very consistent unit of measurement, which is why the majority of the world uses the metric system. We are only one of 3 countries that does not use the metric system as a unit of measurement. Okay, so let's take a look at your solve and share. It says, Sam has a water bottle that holds 250 milliliters of water when full. He needs to fill a 5-liter water jug for his team. If Sam uses the water bottle to fill a jug, how many times does he need to fill the water bottle in order to fill the jug? Solve this problem any way you choose. Okay, so I'm going to start with my total amount that I need is I need 5 liters. Okay, and I'm going to convert it. So when I do this conversion, I'm going to go ahead and use the conversion factor. And if you recall, when we do the conversion factor, if I'm going from a larger unit, okay, so larger unit, so in this case, liters is a larger unit, to smaller unit, I would write this down on your practice again today. So you have that larger unit to smaller unit, you multiply. Okay, and then if I go to a smaller unit, so smaller unit to larger unit, divide. But here, I am going to a larger unit to a smaller unit because I'm going from liters to milliliters. So on my conversion factor, the smaller unit of measurement is going to be on top. If I were dividing, the smaller unit of measurement would be on the bottom. So I have 1,000 milliliters equals 1 liter. If you recall, these unit of measurements get canceled out. They go away, okay? And so then I'm left with 5,000 milliliters. From here, I can now look at if I have 250. So I'm going to write this as a rate. So I need a total of 5,000. And I have 250 milliliter capacity. What I'm going to do is I'm going to divide this by 250. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use my 0 rule. And so my multiple of 10 rule says that I can cross off how many zeros I have in my divisor in my dividend. So here I have 1 0. So I'm going to cross off 1 0 here. I'm going to cross off 1 0 here. And so now I'm looking at how many times 25 can go into 500. So I'm going to rewrite that. So 500 divided by 25. And when I divide 500 by 25, I get 20. So the answer is that I have for this problem is I'm going to fill the bottle 20 times. So the bottle gets filled 20 times because 5,000 milliliters, 250 milliliters fits into 5,000 milliliters 20 times. Again, remember, larger unit to a smaller unit conversion, you multiply. Smaller unit to a larger unit conversion, you divide. I would write this down. If not, refer back to the video. All right, so let's take a look at your convince me. Your look back. So it says, how many liters of water does Sam's water bottle hold when full? So again, I'm going to write 250 milliliters. If I write it as a conversion factor, I'm going from a larger unit to, I'm going from a smaller unit to a larger unit, which means the 1,000 milliliters is going to be on the bottom. The 1 liter is going to be on the top. This happens. This gets crossed off. And now I'm looking at how many places would I move the 0. So if you recall when we did this in 5th grade, if you were with me, we did 250 times, it would be times basically 1,000. Or it would times 1/1000th, or it would be 250 divided by 10 to the third power. And if you recall, when we divide by 10 to the third power, all I do is I take my decimal and I move it 3 places to the left. So my answer is going to be 0.250 liters, or if I drop off that 0, it's going to be 2,500 liters. So the capacity of the water bottle is 2,500 liters. All right, moving into your next problem. Says Amelia is helping her father build a skate ramp. They cut a board 1 2/10 meters long to use at the back of the ramp. The length of the board as it's shown in centimeters correct. So what they're saying is, I want to know, let me get my color up here. I want to know, is 1.2 meters equal to 120 centimeters? So that's what we're looking and solving for. Here's the nice thing. I pointed this out on the first page. Here's my metric units of length measurement. Again, look, 1,000 millimeters is equal to 1 meter. This unit of measurements conversions are the same. The only thing that changes is my base unit. So capacity, it's liters, measurement, or sorry, length, it's going to be meters, and then weight, it's going to be grams. So the first thing that we're going to do is I'm just going to convert. I can do this where I just convert 1.2 meters and I see how many centimeters that's going to be. So I'm going from a larger unit to a smaller unit. So I'm going to multiply. So I'm going to multiply that by 100. Because 100 centimeters equals 1 meter. So that's where I get the 100 from. And when I do that, I need to move my decimal place how many places to the left? Well, the number of zeros tell me I'm moving it 2 places to the left. So 1, oops, I ran out of numbers, add another 0, 2. So I end up with 120 centimeters. So 1.2 meters is the correct unit of measurement because it's equal to 120 centimeters. If I use this with the conversion factor. Okay, so let me show you guys that conversion factor. Again, it's more of a familiarity piece. If you like it, use it. If you don't like it, don't use it, but you need to be able to read it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going from 1.2 meters, and my conversion factor, my unit rate that I have, so I'm going to multiply, is going to be, my conversion factor is 100 centimeters per 1 meter. Because I'm multiplying, the 100 centimeters is on top. The 1 meter is on the bottom. If you guys recall, these cancel each other out, so I'm left with centimeters as my unit of measurement. So I end up with 120 centimeters. So just a way that you can look at it. There's 2 different ways to do it. Use the one that works best for you. All right. The middle of the skate ramp is 2.5 meters wide. Amelia and her father want to use a board that is 23 5/10 decimeters long. Is the board wide enough for them to use? Convert the decimeters to explain. So we need to go back up to our conversion table and see what the ratio for the conversion table is. So 1 decimeter, or sorry, 10 decimeters is equal to 1 meter. So I'm going to write that down here. Okay, change color. So 1 meter is equal to 10 decimeters. That's my abbreviation for decimeters is DM. And so what I need to do is I need to go ahead and I need to convert 2.5 meters into decimeters. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't, because it says convert the decimeters to meters to explain. So I'm going to do 23.5 decimeters. And I want to know that's going to be equal to how many meters. And so the ratio or the rate is going to be 1 meter is 10 decimeters. So I'm going to take 23.5 and I'm going to divide that by 10 to the first power, which means when I divide this by 10 to the first power, I'm going to move my decimal one place to the left. And so I have 2.35 meters. So 2.35 meters is not long enough. It needs another 0.15 meters. If I use this with the conversion factor, so this is what it's going to look like with the conversion factor. So I have 23.5 decimeters. And again, because I'm dividing, decimeters is going to go on the bottom. So the 10 dm is going to go on the bottom. The 1 meter is going to go on the top. And so these cancel each other out. And I really am dividing 23 and a half. So if I rewrite this, this becomes 23 and a half divided by 10, which is equal to 2.35 meters. So it is not long enough for them to use because they have 2.35 meters and they need 2.5 meters. All right, moving into your guided practice. So it says, how are the metric units kilometer and kilogram the same? How are they different? So this goes back to what I was saying from the very beginning. They are the same because they are both 1,000 times greater than the base unit. That's how they're the same. They are different because kilometer measures length and kilogram measures mass, which is a little bit different than weight. So mass. Okay. So they are both 1,000 times greater than the base unit, but kilometers measures length, kilograms measure mass, not math, mass. Okay. Which is greater, 250 meters or 25 kilometers or 2,500 kilometers, excuse me, justify your reasoning. So the first thing to do if I am trying to determine which is greater, I need to get them to the same unit of measurement. So I know that 1,000 meters, so I'm going to write my unit rate. 1,000 meters is equal to 1 kilometer. And so I'm going to take my kilometers and I'm going to multiply that into meters. I want to see how many meters that's going to be. So that means I'm going to take my 2,500s and I'm going to multiply that by 1,000. And when I multiply that by 1,000, that means I'm moving my decimal 3 places to the left. So, or to the right, sorry, 1, 2. If you run out of numbers, you add a 0, bring it over. So I end up with 250 meters. So they are the same rate. They are equal. All right. Number 3, what is the conversion factor when converting from liters to milliliters? So there's when liters to milliliters. So I have 1,000 milliliters is equal to 1 liter. Okay, so because I'm going from liters to milliliters, the 1,000 milliliters has to be on top. If it just said what are the conversion factors for liters and milliliters, I could do both of them. But because I'm going from a larger unit to a smaller unit, I'm multiplying, which means the 1,000 is going to be on the top. All right. Maddie, different spelling, wants to know how many centigrams are in 7,500 grams. She converted 7,500 grams to its equivalent in centigrams as shown. Is her work correct? Explain. All right. So we're going from grams to centigrams. So the conversion ratio for grams to centigrams is going to be 100 centigrams for every 1 gram. So if we take a look here, this is what our conversion factor is because centa means 100, so there's 100 centigrams in grams. If you're not sure, look back at your unit of measurement tables on the prior two tables. Even though they don't say grams,